Welcome everyone, this is Kerjims channel. Now we are back to our new episodes of two semi-reality champions and comparison featured by Wild League of Legends versus the Mobile Legends Bang Gang. But before that, please like and subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the bell icon so you will be notified to our new next episode video. Let's do this!
Sona is our newest support champion. She excels at buffing her teammates and controlling her lane. Her 3 main abilities have an active effect as well as a passive aura that stays on until 3 seconds after she casts a new ability. With enough cooldown reduction, you can keep all 3 auras on your teammates. Sona's passive, Power Chord, gives her next basic attack significant bonus damage after every 3 spell casts. Hymn of Valor damages 2 nearby enemies on activate and prefers to target enemy champions. Its aura is blue and gives ability power and damage to her and nearby allies. I get 1 point early and max it last. Aria of Perseverance heals herself and the most injured nearby ally when cast. Its aura is green and increases her friend's armor and magic resist. I max this ability first. Song of Celerity has 2 movement increases. The aura is purple and gives her and all nearby teammates flat movement speed, while the activation briefly gives an additional boost. I get 1 point at level 3 and max it by level 13. Sona's ultimate is Crescendo. It's a skill shot line move, making enemy champions dance in place while taking damage. I use magic penetration marks, mana regeneration per level seals, flat cooldown reduction glyphs, and flat ability power quintessences. My masteries are 9-0-21. I make a point to take increased gold gain and neutral buff duration in utility. Clairvoyance and Flash are my summoner spells. Flash will help keep me alive, while Clairvoyance is just awesome for support. Wait about 10 seconds into the game, then Clairvoyance the enemy summoner platform. This should tell you where your opponents are headed, as well as their starting items. It might just give you that edge you're looking for. Starting with Mana Manipulator and Hymn of Valor, you want to abuse your early game damage output. Always cast your 3 spells while in base to charge Power Chord. Then, just use the brush and Sona's excellent range. Even against Tarek, I'm able to consistently harass Ashe. While laning, you should try to use Clairvoyance to spot for enemy junglers. Here, by revealing Rammus, we can gank him at Golem. Also note the Clairvoyance position. I reveal 2 camps by placing it between them. I recall at 1150 gold, so I can buy Philosopher's Stone and Boots of Speed. Turn on Song of Celerity when running back to lane. You'll get there faster. Sona with Clairvoyance is also a great asset when attempting Dragon. Alistar can see bottom lane and Miss Fortune can see mid, so I Clairvoyance the main choke point above us to check for a gank. However, I should have placed it half a screen to the left. This would allow me to see enemies coming from mid tower as well as from Golem. Sona does not have powerful escape tools. Her heal, while low cooldown, doesn't replenish a lot at once, which makes gank scenarios very difficult for her. Also, because slows divide all movement boosts, Song of Celerity is far from a get-out-of-jail-free card. I should have used Clairvoyance on the river while we pushed. I bought Magi's Soul Stealer and a new item, Kindle Gem, on my way to the new support item, Shirelia's Reverie. I buy Magi's because I can rack up assist while staying out of danger, spamming my abilities. Shirelia's Reverie builds from Philosopher's Stone and Kindle Gem, and can haste my teammates on command, as well as giving me cooldown reduction. We head to Dragon and find Rammus. Level 2 Song of Celerity just barely allows Anivia to get into range for Crystallize, giving us a nice kill. Sona is frail in teamfights. By looping around to the top, I made myself available to Rammus' taunt and then Tarek's dazzle, allowing Yi to chop me up. Compared to Soraka, who can burst heal for upwards of 800, I have to make sure I position well and buff my teammates, staying out of the center of attention.
Too many interesting interactions with other characters. but the few lines she has are really cool. For example, here she is talking to Rise, and the artifacts that could end the world are of course the world rules. And the reason why Sona has an interaction with Rise is because as Riot continues on their quest to make all of their cinematic scanners, that means that Sona did meet Rise at some point during her lore. Of course, as I said, her lore is still old and it will be updated, but I assume that the core parts will stay the same. Sona was an Ionian orphan who was adopted by a rich Demacian who really liked her instrument, which is called the Etwa. And so now, even though she is mute, and even though she is technically a mage, who is releasing magic when she's playing, and that's why she is charming people, she is still in Demacia. But there, nobody realized that Sona is actually a mage. Anyway, the point is, when Rise met Sona in the Call of Power cinematic, now we know that Riot is trying to make it canon. And because there they attacked the Navori Brotherhood, I wonder if this means that Sona will get back to Ionia. But it sounds unlikely, as you'll see from the other line.
Oh, is the Grand General a fan?
Once again, we don't have the subtitles, but the Grand General is Swain, so that's who she's talking to.
The world is cruel. Until that changes, I'll never stop playing.
And this is a reference to Sona's lore overall. With her magical music, she's almost able to control people. At least on the emotional level, she's able to calm people down. So what I assume is going to happen in Sona's new lore is that using her magical music, I think that Sona will try to calm all mages down to stop the civil war. But that's just my guess.
And where has Rise been? Hunting for more world-ending relics?
And here Sona has another line against Rise. But this one is interesting because here Sona seems to not believe what Rise is doing. I don't think she believes that the world runes can really end the world.
The tempo changes, and so do we.
As you'll see in the other lines that we get to, there seems to be an overall theme where Sona keeps talking about people changing. I think that might be part of her new lore as well. Maybe she is trying to change people. Just remember this because we will get back to this later.
We're both a long way from home, Xinjiao. Rest easy.
Of course, just like Sona, Xinjiao is Ionian. And let's be honest, Demacia is quite far away from their home.
Magic is like a song. It's woven into everything. Waiting.
And that was a confirmation that what Sona is doing is magical. She controls magic using her instrument.
There's so much pain in Xinjiao's heart. Why?
Well, we know why. Xinjiao was the personal guard of Jarvan III. But when the civil war erupted, although Xinjiao wanted to stay by the king's side to protect him, which was his job, the king sent him away to deliver a message to the Mage Seekers to stop fighting the mages and end the bloodshed. But before Xinjiao was even able to deliver the message, bells started ringing in Demacia because King Jarvan III died. So the reason why right now Xinjiao is depressed is because his job was to protect the king no matter what happens. But the king ordered him to go away. And so, when the king died, Xinjiao suddenly didn't know if he failed the kingdom because he did not protect the king, or if he did the right thing by following the king's orders. Perhaps if he went against his own king, Jarvan III would still be alive.
This is no ordinary instrument. More like an old friend.
In the old lore, this instrument, again called Etwa, was taken away from Sona when she was young. But then, when she was adopted by the rich Demacian, they got her the instrument back. That's why this could be an old friend.
Sorry, Garen, but I can't help if I'm locked up.
And this is the reason why I don't think that Sona will be returning to Ionia. Because since she's mentioning that she can't do anything if she's locked up, I assume that she's imprisoned in Demacia, along with the other mages. So you know what? Maybe I was wrong, and maybe people actually know that Sona is a mage. But more importantly, if in the new lore Sona ends up being imprisoned, that would tie her lore really well to all the other alternative universes. Because in case you don't know, in the Odyssey universe, where Sona has a lot more lore than in the canon universe, there Sona was imprisoned by the villains. Because she is the chosen child who has the ability to control aura, which is the primordial power of the universe. That's why in that skin she has an aura orb in front of her. However, in the new Psyops universe, that is now on PvE, there Sona was also imprisoned. As far as we know, she was like a super weapon, and somehow she escaped. We don't really know the details yet. But with these two alternative universes, it would make sense for her to being locked up in the canon universe too. That's why I really like this line.
My music warms old souls and soothes hardened hearts. It is my greatest joy.
Once again, a reference to what Sona is doing with her magic.
Did he want 4 autographs? I don't understand.
Again, no subtitles, but I assume this is a line against Jin. Which is interesting because not only is Jin also an artist, but also because Sona was one of the people that were used for Jin's teaser. For context, now we know that Riot just used random characters to tease Jin. So technically, I don't believe that Jin actually met Sona nor Garen. But who knows, maybe on their quest to make everything canon, Jin will somehow end up in Demacia too.
Don't worry, Lux. One day, our kind will be free.
And yes, this is a reference to the fact that Lux is a mage as well, even though she is a Demacian.
Art bridges the gap between people. Government, not so much.
Of course, this is a reference to the fact that Demacia as a government is not really working out. And that's all because of the mage civil war.
A crown guard and a mage? Wouldn't want to be her.
Once again, she's talking about Lux.
It's good to see Tarek hasn't changed. And that. It's both.
See, and this is what I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Sona is often talking about people changing, which might be the overall theme with her. And here she has an interaction with Tariq because Tariq used to be Demacia. He technically still is, but now he was turned into the Targonian aspect of the Protector. With the new lore dump on Universe, Tariq got his bio updated as well, but there just tiny details got tweaked. He was still a Demacian in the Demacian army, who was training besides Garen, and Tariq's squad died probably because he left his post, which technically marked him as a deserter. And his punishment wasn't death, because Garen wanted to give him a chance to live, and so Tariq was sentenced to die by the Crown of Stone, which is a ritual where Demacians send their deserters to Mount Stargon, and they make them ascend the mountain. Most of them die there, but on the very rare occasion, such as the case with Tariq, they succeed, they climb up, and magical things happen.